Let the vice scripts commence. This is PokeKing 506 bringing another episode of the Pokemon discussion piece, Pokemon Ranked. And we're going to be talking about Ash's Kingler in this episode. One of the worst managed Pokemons in the Pokemon anime period. And since the lack of usage this Pokemon has endured, we don't know as much about it. So I'm going to put together some events, and there is one event that I will be talking about, and that it will be the evolution from Krabby to Kingler. But first, we are going to be talking about the World Cup. And since Ash entered the World Cup, he wanted to use water Pokemon since it was a water Pokemon only event. And since he only had one water Pokemon at his disposal, his Totodile, he needed another Pokemon to fill the void. And in that event, we got to see some more character development from Ash's Kingler. And I am so happy that they did this for the guy. He is the worst managed Pokemon because of the amount of power this guy contains. And since it contains this much power, we didn't get to see it fully developed properly. And now the meat of the conversation. The evolution episode between Mandy or something like that. And in the episode, this is the first Pokemon to sweep a full battle in the Pokemon anime, Ash's Kingler. And that is like the undisputed champion of sweeping battles. That's Kingler's banner. And in the Pokemon anime, no other Pokemon has accomplished that feat. And since Ash's Kingler did this, albeit in a 3-on-1 scenario, not a 6-on-1, it still swept a battle. And since it holds that distinction, we got to see Ash's Kingler be one of Ash's most strongest Pokemon at the time. And since Ash's Kingler was so poorly mismanaged, since he didn't want to leave any of his Pokemon at Oak's lab, we didn't get to see Kingler as a Krabby. The only time we got to see Krabby was Showdown at the Poke Corral, the introduction of Gary and his Nidoqueen. And since Ash's Kingler was so poorly mismanaged, I can't tell you how badly Kingler's was mismanaged. And the only time that I wish Ash's Kingler would totally have more character development was during an event such as the World Cup, but back home when Ash was back at Professor Oak's laboratory. We need more of those scenes in the Pokemon anime, Ash returning to the Pokemon laboratory. The last time we got to see that was at the end of Best Wishes, but he only encountered all of his Unova Pokemon and Bulbasaur. So, and Charizard too, but Charizard's Charizard. But since Kingler wasn't there for some unknown reason, we didn't get to see Kingler as often as we should have, because since it swept the battle of the Pokemon League, that carries weight. And since the writers didn't feel that weight was enough for Kingler, it didn't feel like Kingler went off on a good note in many of the fans' eyes, because we didn't get to see it for how long? Like a long time. And the time difference between evolution episode to Kingler and the World Cup. There was an event that we only got to see a cameo when Ash was participating in the Orange League when Kingler offered to battle, and Ash chose Tauros because Snorlax was sleeping and needed food. So since Kingler wasn't chosen, we still, to this day, didn't see Kingler's battle strengths develop, and I'm just upset because Kingler was such a wasted opportunity. Like, Kingler is so strong, albeit it was against a weaker opponent, but since of its speed diminished, thanks to its heightened upper body strength, albeit it's a crab, but with a gigantic claw. Yeah, gigantic. And since the claw carries so much extra weight, you don't get to move it laterally as quick enough as it was able to as a Krabby. So, when Mandy released his Golbat, Golbat can outspeed Ash's Kingler. But since it was on a water-type battlefield, you were able to witness a strategy that Ash developed, because this was the battle that Misty and Brock were the first. This was the first episode that Misty and Brock was in the stands, and I think I have to rewatch it, but I think this was the first episode that Misty and Brock were in the stands, and since Ash put out Krabby, since his Executor, this was as a Krabby, was able to make a Psychic Vortex. Krabby got caught, and some mystical reasoning, it evolves after Vice Grip to Executor's head. Evolves into it beats Executor after the Vice Grip, evolves promptly into Kingler, and just sweeps the other two Pokemon, thanks to his newfound abilities, and just destroying Golbat with Hyper Beam. But let's just say Kingler was the most wasted opportunity that the anime put out to the fans. And since that's such a sour taste in my mouth, I really, really hope that after the Kalos region ends, we will see Ash return to his lab, to Professor Oak's lab, and showcase all of Ash's Pokemon, not just the ones from said region, just everybody. Sure, it's a gag. Sure, it's putting it out there, but I do want to see Ash's Kingler reappear. That's all I want to see. Ash's Kingler reappear. So, hopefully, the writers listen. So, next episode, we focus on Lapras, the transport Pokemon. Take care, everybody. Hit a like if you like this video. Hit subscribe if you really liked it. Let's go, Ash.